Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. The final group games are happening as we speak. But what have we learned about every single World Cup country? That's what you're going to find out in this video. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Let's get into this one. Let's go. Right, first up, Netherlands. They're dependent on Cody Gakpo. Despite Gakpo only being 23 years old and still playing for PSV, the Netherlands look dependent on him to score goals. With Memphis not fully fit, it seems, and no other real goal scorers in the team, the Netherlands don't look like scoring goals when Cody Gakpo isn't on the field. Ecuador, defensively excellent. Ecuador hadn't conceded any goals in their 6 matches leading up to this tournament and have only conceded 1 goal so far. Their defence is really well organised and they are set up brilliantly to play in tournament football and holding an excellent account of themselves in this process, which makes it concerning if England win our group and play them. Senegal, coping with Mane's loss pretty well. With Mane not featuring, many thought Senegal would be lost without him, but other players have really stepped up in his absence. You've got Ismaila Sarr, who has been a revelation and has matched what Mane offered in terms of ball carrying and chance creation. You've got Iliman Ndiaye, has also looked exemplary when coming off the bench. Qatar, miles off it. There were some slight positive murmurings from Qatar fans prior to the tournament, with their country having held a good account of themselves in other competitions such as the Gold Cup, etc., whilst also looking competitive in friendlies, but the quality simply is not there to play at this level, and they were the first ever host country to lose their opening game. England. Tournament football in its fullest form when it comes to England. Despite looking excellent against Iran, the handbrake is still firmly on for this England team. And with the side structured in a way that prevents goals going in, they also sacrifice creativity in the process. And with Southgate's loyal team selection, it has resulted in some of the best players not playing the minutes that their quality demands. Iran, resilient. Despite being on the end of a 6-2 drubbing at the hands of England, this Iran side, it's incredibly resilient mentally. They were excellent against Wales in frustrating the Welsh as well as maximising any scoring opportunity. Their win against Wales was their first win against a European side, which shows the progression of the team under Carlos Queiroz. USA. Underestimated. I think we all have a little bit. After not qualifying for the 2018 World Cup and struggling in qualifying for the 2022 World Cup, many had written off the USA, but the fans were hopeful coming into the tournament, and now we know why. Berhalter, he's brushed off those criticisms launched at him, and he's made his team his own, with every player fitting nicely into the tactical approach he's applying. Wales' occasion has got to them, I think. There was a lot of hype from everyone in Wales around this tournament, and with how much it meant for the people of Wales to just be in this tournament. But the occasion seems to have gotten to them. It's got the better of the players who aren't playing their natural football. This has come as a shock because the Wales players usually remain level-headed and in recent tournaments and produce some great performances, but it just hasn't happened as of yet going into those final group games. Poland have the tools to play tournament football with a very solid 5-back, world-class goalkeeper and a world-class striker. Poland are demonstrating that a team doesn't have to be littered with stars to hold a good account of them at the world stage. They're playing to their strengths, absorbing pressure and taking their chances when they come. Poland may be a problem for teams in the knockouts. Argentina. All hope is not lost, with Messi finally announcing himself at the tournament against Mexico. Argentina seem to grow a lot in confidence, and despite it not being the most vintage of displays, they got the job done and prohibited Mexico from getting anywhere near their box. Argentina can still win this competition if they can build on this momentum. Saudi Arabia, do not underestimate the power of that white shirt. Saudi Arabia's coach, Hervé Renard, has made the untucked white shirt synonymous with himself during his time managing African teams, in which he won 2 AFCONs. We are now seeing just how powerful that white shirt is, and that he is an excellent manager that coaches a nice style of football that the Saudi players are taking in their stride. Potential for the manager of the tournament. Mexico. Toothless up top, so toothless. Coach Tata Martino is on thin ice with 3 losses to America in the last 12 months. After a couple of defeats, this feels like it's its last chance, and despite being somewhat solid at the back, they offer absolutely nothing in the final third, and they're favourites to finish bottom of the group at the time of recording. France, strength in depth. Despite having 6 players out with injury, France are showing just what a footballing powerhouse they are, and some of the performances seen by the players who have come in. You got Giroud up top, it just definitely springs to mind. And despite not having Ballon d'Or winner Karim Benzema to call upon, it looks like it hasn't affected them at all, with the side looking really, really dangerous in the final third and punishing teams whenever they go forward. Australia doing Oceania proud. The continent of Oceania struggle on the world stage, with only New Zealand and Australia appearing regularly in the tournament. And Australia have also struggled massively in the past at World Cups, having not won a match since 2010. So their win against Tunisia is massive for them. Taking the lead against France was also massive for this side in terms of perception and confidence and an ability to score goals. Denmark, underperforming but still in it. Now, many have thought that the lack of a goal scorer wouldn't be that much of a problem for Denmark prior to the World Cup, given how well they'd been spreading out the goals in the lead-up, but it seems to be a big problem. The Danes have only scored one goal so far and now have to do well against Australia. They did, however, perform relatively well against France, let's be honest. Tunisia solid, but it's just not really enough. We pointed out before the World Cup that Tunisia lacked any stars that could win the matches. This has rung really true with Tunisia, having only conceded one goal, but they haven't looked like scoring in either of their matches so far. Not strong enough, really. They work hard, but they need to find some goals from somewhere. Spain, potential to go all the way. That's what we've learned. Spain have made many sit up and take notice so far. 7 goals from 8 shots on target in their opener against Costa Rica. They shut up a lot of their critics who said they weren't ruthless. They also demonstrated their capabilities to control a match, which we knew already. But against Germany, they did have spells where they lost their grip on the game, and subsequently Germany were allowed to score. Spain need to learn to put the game to bed earlier to avoid this from happening. Japan, hot and cold. You never quite know what you're going to get from this Japan team. They have the capabilities and tools to beat some good sides, as they demonstrated before the World Cup, but they're not reliable enough against smaller sides, which they also showed before the tournament. It looks like this has followed them into the tournament, and they aren't performing to their maximum capabilities in terms of chance creation and establishing themselves in the final third. Costa Rica, impossible to write off. Time and time again, Costa Rica are written off at tournaments, and underestimating them always somehow comes at a peril. Despite looking completely hopeless against Spain, they showed how tough they are in their follow-up match against Japan. They are tougher than a lot give them credit for, and that's what their qualification campaign was built on. Germany, almost there. Germany looks really good at times, but they just lack that cutthroat energy, you know. But with 29-year-old striker Niklas Füllkrug scoring their first goal from open play, it might be a big positive for the Germans to build on, as that's what they're lacking in this tournament, but also in the Nations League over the summer. With him scoring goals, they've got a chance. Croatia, somehow not over the hill yet. It was being bandied about by myself for sure that Croatia were finished due to the age of their star players. They have dispelled this theory through that 4-1 thrashing of Canada, in which Perisic, Kramaric, Kovacic and Modric all shone. They also showed that their stars coming through, such as Lovro Mayer and Josko Gvardiol, are the next generation, and that they're still going to be fine for years to come. Morocco, the best African team. Morocco's win against Belgium was their 3rd ever win in the World Cup, despite playing a total of 18 matches. This is also their most famous win of all time, and it's testament to the football that Regragui has them playing. Still yet to concede a goal, they look potent going forward and have finally found a balance between technical forwards and solid defenders. I really would love them to play Ilias Chair at some point, though. Belgium, finished. Feels like Kevin De Bruyne, when asked if Belgium still have a chance of winning this World Cup, responded with, "No, we're too old." Yeah, and that their best chance was back in 2018. This tells us what we already knew, and that Belgium as a footballing giant are now potentially done, with not many stars coming through and Roberto Martinez failing to introduce a new generation. It looks like bleak times ahead. Canada should be proud, you know. Canada have held an excellent account of themselves in this tournament, despite losing 4-1 to Croatia and losing 1-0 to Belgium. They have played really well at the tournament and have been really unlucky with injuries as well. The problem for Canada is that some of their players, they just look to be tiring with a game every 4 days, and that attacking nature and that Herdman has put forward. But they should be proud, you know. Brazil, better without Neymar. Brazil didn't play that much free-flowing football in their opener. However, in the 80th minute, Neymar was subbed off and Brazil caught a light and created multiple chances with fast tempo, high energy ball movement, and cruised to victory against Serbia. With Neymar out for the rest of the group games, it might be a blessing in disguise. Switzerland, same old Switzerland, isn't it? In the Euro, Switzerland made a name for themselves playing a solid, composed brand of football, and that was very much the case in their opener against Cameroon. We pinpointed how important Mbolo would be in the run-up to the tournament, and that has shown itself with the Cameroon-born striker scoring the only goal in their 1-0 victory over the Cameroonians. Speaking of Cameroon, Abubakar is a baller. Abubakar single-handedly changed the game against Serbia and helped his side come from 3-1 down to 3-3, and still with a chance of reaching the knockouts heading into that last round of group games. His goal will be talked about for goal of the tournament. Let me know in the comments down below. Is it his? Is it Richarlison? And it's a wonder why he hadn't started any of the first two games, given his excellent record for his country. Serbia, uncharacteristically leaking goals. Serbia's qualification campaign was built on a solid defence and taking chances when they came. They've still been taking their chances with Mitrovic, keeping up his excellent record, but they've conceded 5 goals in their opening 2 matches, which is hugely uncharacteristic for them, and this is what will knock them out of the tournament if they are to go out. Portugal, not bad, but they need to concentrate. Once they got into the flow of the game against Ghana, Portugal looked dangerous going forward, but they need to concentrate more. With some silly errors coming against Ghana, such as Diego Costa's mistake, it may cost them if they do not iron them out. In tight games, Portugal may suffer the consequences of these mistakes. They also need to find a way of getting Leao into this starting 11. Ghana. Goals galore. Ghana have surprised a few in this tournament. Ranked 61st in the world prior to the tournament, they were the lowest ranked team in the competition, but this hasn't looked true in the slightest, with the team displaying a nice cohesion as well as a forward-thinking style of play, which makes them really, really dangerous in counter-attacking scenarios and a problem for whoever they face. Inaki Williams' work rate up top is hugely underrated. Uruguay, Suarez, he shouldn't be playing. Suarez looked miles off it against South Korea and it looked very unfit. He didn't play in that game against Portugal, and with Uruguay only deploying one striker with Nunez pushed out wide, it made them really limp up front, and Suarez in the game against Portugal just had a bit more zip about him coming on as a substitute. Cavani needs to continue to start. South Korea causing their own problems, coming from 2-0 down to 2-2 against Ghana was a victory in itself for South Korea, but at 2-2, they didn't have the composure or the game management skills to see how what would have been such an invaluable point. They instead committed too many bodies forward and faced the brunt of the Ghana counter-attack. This means they now head into the final group match needing an absolute miracle. So there you have it. One thing that we've learned about every single World Cup team. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying all the content. It's quick fire, isn't it? If you are enjoying it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button as well, and I'll see you in the next one.